Hi, this is Mr. Wartsky, and welcome to the first and probably last screencast for the Protista kingdom in AP Biology. Now, we're probably doing the Protist project, so we've already discovered the kingdom Monera. Now, if we buy into the three-domain system, then there are five kingdom system is obsolete. For example, there are 8 known kingdoms in the Protista category. So we can't really call Protista a kingdom. Instead, I am going to call them a super kingdom so that everything can relate here and fit nicely. The other kingdoms under the super kingdom Protista will fit here. So protists are very diverse. They can be either unicellular to multicellular. Some can photosynthesize, other are heterotrophic, and still others do both. They can move with cilia, flagella, pseudopods, or be non-motile. They may reproduce sexually or asexually, and sometimes even both asexually and sexually, but they are all eukaryotic. So under the different kingdoms, for example, we have domain Eukarya, super kingdom Protista, kingdom Archaeozoa, and there's going to be a phylum under the Trypanosoma, and we're do a project on that. Kingdom Euglenozoa, phylum Euglenophyta, okay, that's also number 2, so number. In kingdom Alveolata, we have dinoflagellates, which is phylum Apicomplexa, specifically we're going to look at Sporozoa, and phylum Ciliophora under the kingdom Alveolata. We have kingdom Straminophila, which are Omicota, which I love the name of that. Omicota. It should be OMC instead of OMG. Omicota. It used to be a fungus. If you take a look at the suffix, that's a fungal suffix, but it was recently moved because of DNA studies. Plus that these things do not have a chitin cell wall, which is by the definition of what a fungus is. Chrysophyta, that's golden algae, number 7. Brachyliophyta, those are diatoms. They have a silica test. And Phaeophyta, which we're going to talk about momentarily, these are your algae. Phaeophyta, kingdom Rhodophyta, which we're going to talk about, and kingdom Chlorophyta, those are your brown algae, your red algae, and your green algae. Then you have the kingdom Amalova, not a phyta. Then we have the unknown kingdom, if you don't know where to put these things. Phylorhizopoda, Actinopoda, Foraminiferan, Myxomycota. This is again a fungus. Used to be an Acrasiomycota, which used to be fungus. These used to be funguses. Now for each, we're going to find out, and you're going to find out the name. We already gave them to you. Diagram, give me some examples. Structures with functions that are found only in that phylum. Nutrition, how they get their food, either photosynthesis, heterotrophic, or both. Movement, how they move. What do they use? Flagella? Do they use pseudopods? Do they use cilia? Or nothing? And importance. Now, importance can be good or bad. For example, sporozoans cause malaria. That's not a good thing, but that's also very important. And how do they reproduce? So I'm going to cover Phaeophyta and Rhodophyta. We're going to talk about these things and go over an important concept of alternation of generations. So in the domain Eukarya, superkingdom Protista, kingdom Straminophila, we have a phylum called Phaeophyta, which are brown algae. There are 1,500 named species. They have a special pigment called fucoxanthin, which gives it its brown color. It stores its carbohydrates as lameranin or mannitol, and it says colonial down there because that's how they live. That means they are multicellular. They live in cold coastal waters, and they can grow up to 100 feet tall, and those are known as kelp. Get this down. You should have already been writing it down. You need to pause. Here are some pictures of brown algae. Now, I don't expect you to draw them. It's okay. They are the first organisms to have specialized structures. For example, holdfasts will help the algae hold to the bottom of the ocean. Stipe is stem-like, but not a true stem. That's only found in plants. Blades are leaf-like, again, only found in plants. And bladders, which hold air and allow it to float. You might be asking yourself, why does it have to float? To be closer to the sun. Now, the life cycle shows alternation of generations. In order to complete the life cycle of Phaeophyta or brown algae, you need to have two separate organisms. You have to go through two life cycles. So we need to know something about the sporophyte. Again, I hope you're pausing this if I'm going too fast. I probably am. The sporophyte produces diploid spores, and the gametophyte produces gametes through mitosis. Now, if the sporophyte produces haploid spores, which is possible, then it does that through meiosis. Diploid spores through mitosis, haploid spores through meiosis. So, depending on the type of sporophyte, and I'll tell you if it produces haploid or diploid spores. So, in the Phaeophyta, we have the zygote, and I'm going to show you a picture, which is a fertilized egg. It grows into a sporophyte by the process of mitosis and cytokinesis. It produces haploid spores through meiosis. The haploid spores will land on the ocean floor and grow into gametophytes. There will be a male gametophyte, like a small algae, and then a female gametophyte, which also looks like a small algae, and it does that through the process of mitosis and cytokinesis. The male produces sperm in a structure known as the antheridium. The female produces the egg in the structure known as the archegonium, and the sperm will meet the egg. Now we have the formation of a diploid again, the formation of a zygote, and we start at the top again. So in this one, let's take a look. We have the diploid, right? Sporophyte produces haploid spores. The haploid spores grow into either male or female. Male and the female sperm or egg, they will join together to form a zygote, which grows into the sporophyte. But you need to have the sporophyte, which is one organism, and the gametophyte, which are the other organisms. So it goes diploid, haploid, diploid, haploid. The generations alternate. The alternation of generations. Draw the diagram. You don't have to draw these perfect diagrams. Draw a diagram that says sporophyte and gametophyte. You can write 2N or N and show me that you understand the alternations of generations. Hopefully you pause that, or you can always hit rewind and pause that. Now, Rhodophyta is domain Eukarya, superkingdom Protista, kingdom Rhodophyta, phylum Rhodophyta, which could be a little confusing. These are known as red algae. There are 4,000 named species, and they have a pigment called phycoerythrin, which is a red pigment that's similar to the pigment found in cyanobacteria. Which is thought to have been a symbiotic relationship between eukaryotic cells and cyanobacteria. Oh my gosh, symbiosis, everything's coming together. These are some examples of red algae. Note the red tinge, and no, redheads do not have this pigment. I know you were thinking about it. Oh, orange, isn't it? So they have specialized structures as well as Phaeophyta. They store their carbohydrates as floridin, sorry, and agar-agar. Now, agar-agar makes our bacterial gels, or makes the electrophoresis gels, and it also produces carrageenan, which is a food thickener. We put it in ice cream and we put it in yogurt and makes it nice and thick. It is also nori. Nori is red algae. Oh, I love nori. It's the stuff that goes on top of sushi. And it also shows an alternation of generation in their life cycle. So again, we have the zygote, which is a fertilized egg that grows through process of mitosis into a sporophyte. This is 2N. The sporophyte produces haploid spores through meiosis. The haploid spores land and form gametophytes. We have a male and female gametophyte, and they develop through a process known as mitosis. The male produces sperm in the antheridium. The female produces the egg in the archegonium. The sperm meets the egg to form a zygote, which will then grow into a sporophyte. So it goes sporophyte, gametophyte, sporophyte, gametophyte, sporophyte, gametophyte. Gametophytes produce gametes, sporophytes produce spores. So we have this. We have the 2N, right? Forms spores through meiosis. One spore develops into a male, one forms a female. The male gamete, the female gamete, sperm, egg get together to form a fertilized egg, which is a zygote, which forms a sporophyte. Sporophyte, gametophyte. Sporophyte, gametophyte. Sporophyte produces spores, which produce the gametophytes, which produce the gametes, which produce the zygote. Hopefully that was somewhat clear. If you have any questions, please review the video again, read your textbook, or talk to me tomorrow in class. Have a good night.